Hi, how you doing? I know what you're thinking. Steve, on a Sunday, what's going on? Have I slept through the weekend or something? No, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's just how things have panned out. It's like the stars have aligned. It was Leah's works do last night, so you know, instead of like watching Saturday night telly, which mainly seems to consist of like game show after game show after game show, I got to watch some replays and do my notes. Okay, and on top of that, the racing's not all that today, is it? So yeah, I thought got a bit of time just at the minute, get it done. Okay, game shows, yeah, you know, never underestimate the stupidity of some people. Never ceases to amaze me. Do you know, like this? Seriously, this happened. Literally, I remember once someone was asked the capital of a country and replied with another country. So it's like, what's the capital of Germany? And it's like Belgium or something like, yeah. I, I'm not really one for game shows, but I just watch what the wife wants to watch, happy wife, happy life, and all that. Um, if there's no doubt though that like the IQ is dropping in it. You can see it all around you every day. You do. Um, I mean, to illustrate it, it really like what would hit you with it would be if you watch Bullseye, or if you've ever watched Bullseye. I've seen a few old episodes and stuff, and you watch a rerun of Bullseye, and the questions are like really difficult. Like, and the guys are just like bang, bang, bang. I like watching them. I like, these are seriously intelligent people. I mean, I'm no like genius. I know the capital of Germany is not Belgium, but I'm no genius. But these guys, yeah, it's like, well, you deserve to be on a game show because you are like really clever, make use of that intelligence, that general knowledge. It is definitely being dumbed down on it for the population nowadays. It has. I mean, Jesus. I suppose tech doesn't help. That's got to be a thing, isn't it? Social engineering, tech. Um, I mean, I've always had it in the back of my mind. Sorry, I'm having a ramble here, aren't I? I always had it in the like back of my head. I'll always try and like work out sums in my head. Or and like, if you like a bet, you do a lot of sums, don't you? you know. And failing that, I'd use like pen and paper rather than use a calculator. I do use calculators sometimes, but I'd always have that. I think try and work it out, Steve. And I think it's like use it or lose it, isn't it? You try and sort of keep sharp. But nowadays, like if you're under 20, it's just ask Google, isn't it? Just Google it, or AI. I mean, they get kids now. They get AI, don't they, to like do the homework for them and stuff. It's like, wow, you could probably get a degree now online and just get AI to do it for you. So I guess it don't worry. It don't matter, does it really, about the falling IQ of the population, because we'll have AI to run everything for us soon. Oh, that should make you feel warm and cozy. Bear in mind, this is the same AI that says Majma jumps like fucking Pegasus. Like, what could possibly go wrong? Anyway, enough ranting. Um, yeah, we'll have a bit of a ramble today. I've got a bit of time, so pack a flask or whatever. We'll just have a review of the sort of week's action. I've got a few little bets as well, ante-post for Christmas rather than Cheltenham today. Okay, yeah, I've got a few, 3. Yeah, we'll do them after the sort of review of the week. So yeah, bit of a rarity this a Sunday, and the stars, like I say, just aligned for this. It'll probably never happen again. Okay. So yeah, there weren't really any graded action. It's sort of winding down for Christmas, isn't it, this week? But there was some interesting races though, and a few notable performances. As ever, I'll have missed a few out as well, like you know. So we'll go to Thursday at Punchestown. The going was heavy. 2 mile novice chase. Pure Steel beat Coral River 3 1/4 here. He built on his promising chase debut behind Irish Panther, who goes to the big Grade 1 at Christmas. He'll be taking on Romeo Coolio, and you know, he's a runner there. You know, he's a live chance in that. Yeah, he ran behind him first time up. We covered that race at the time. We said that might work out all right. There's been a few of these beginners and stuff, haven't they? And you know, some of them are panning out now. This fella finished 3rd in that, and the day after, Jacob's lad, who finished 2nd yesterday, he took out a race yesterday. But Pure Steel here, yeah, he kind of just looked a little tap for toe as they sort of quickened for home, turning in. But he was soon back on it, and he came home strongly and won this well. James Joseph Mangan, the sort of wheels have fell off Spillane's tower, it seems, but you know, he's got another one here. Shades of Spillane's tower, you know, maybe you know, that horse took this race out 2 years ago. I really like him, I do. Is Yates out of a presenting mare? He's, you know, plenty of stamina there. He's gonna. He really wants to go up in trip, I'd say. He kind of just about got away with this. I think, you know, I think the race kind of fell apart a bit, and the get around was heavy. But you know, I think, yeah, he should improve plenty going out in trip. Yeah, like his main rival here, it's Belbo. You know, he kind of blew out. Henry's not running great. So yeah, the time weren't anything much. I think the race kind of fell apart. So probably not to get too carried away on the face of it, but I really like the horse himself here. I think he's definitely one to follow. You could see him in graded races by the end of the season. Jimmy were mentioning a handicap, maybe a novice handicap or something. I'm not sure what sort of mark he'll get. I don't know. You can look at his form in different ways. I gave up trying to work it out, but you know, I like him in the handicap, and I think could be a graded horse. You know, he's definitely one to follow anyway. I like him, Pure Steel. Yeah. 3 mile beginners, probably all handicappers. These, they could be nice handicappers. Winner, bar the winner, who I'm just not sure about, to be honest. Carasso Blue, I don't know, but he's a 4-year-old, and he took out a 3 mile beginners on heavy. That's, you don't see that every day. That's quite unusual. So he could be nice going forward. I'd imagine they won't overface him this season. I don't know, you know, but yeah, he's probably one to note because that is unusual to see a 4-year-old take out 3 mile beginners, you know. So 2 mile 3 listed mares novice hurdle. Echoing Silence for Henry beat Switch from Diesel, best part of 3 lengths here. Yeah, she defied stable form and won this tidy. She looks nice. Um, Plenty of scope about her. She does look a really nice type going forward. Kenny Alexander, Henry de Bromhead mare. She's no honeysuckle, but yeah, she looks nice going forward. She does. Henry did say mare's novice hurdle for may have a run before, may not, and she's 16 to 1 top price. I do think, again, I think the race kind of probably fell apart a little. I don't know what the bare form's worth. Switch from Diesel's got some nice sort of back form there, but I've just an idea with her. She may be, she may want better ground. It just seems to kind of blunt her speed a bit. I think this ground. We'll see. But you can mark this up. She could be a proper Grade One mare to win when the stable's generally not doing great. Yeah, I won't put anyone off having a tickle at the 16s there for the mares novice. We kind of know it's a target, which is half the battle, isn't it? And she looks nice. She does. Another nice horse I thought took out the 2 mile maiden hurdle. Espresso Milan beat Blue Velvet a length and a half here. Again, he looked a little like Pure Steel. He looked a little tap for toe turning in, but kind of responded to sort of sympathetic urgings, I thought, to slowly but surely get on top close home. He looked a little babyish early on in this race. He was very keen to the first, but then he dropped it all right. But he jinked crossing the path. He had a look around there. I'd say there's loads of improvement in him. He looks a fine, big chasing type. It's no wonder when you look at him that he was kind of struggling in good ground bumpers last season. Although he did run with plenty of credit in the 2 mile 3 Overlander bumper at Punchestown. He's come from Fergal O'Brien's. He showed a nice attitude, for all that he did look a bit babyish and he's got plenty to learn. He showed a nice attitude, I thought, after the last. He put his head down when needed. He's a Milan out of a presenting mare, packed with stamina. He's going to improve hugely up in trip, and he could make up into an Albert Bartlett type. He looks a really nice horse going forward. I liked him. I did. Okay. And another performance to note. It were a nice day's racing on Thursday, weren't it? It were good racing. Warwick. It was soft on the chase course. 2.5 mile Lady Godiva listed mares novice chase saw Diva Luna beat Blue K 3.5 lengths. She were 1-4 and this were a 3-horse race. But I thought there were a lot to like about her performance here. She made one mistake at the third. Pardon me, but she's a novice and she's entitled to that. That's how you learn. And I thought she did learn plenty. She was getting a fine educational ride, I thought, from Ben Jones. He got her to do a little bit everything here. Yeah, she only won as she was entitled to, but it's just kind of how she went about it I really liked. She's a real good looker. She's got plenty of size and scope. She's always been held in very high regard by connections, and she's kind of looked nice in flashes before, but always kind of struggled for consistency. I'm never really sure about her. She went into the mare's novice hurdle last season rated just 120, but came out of it rated 134. She surprised me there, and I guess she surprised the handicappers. She ran really well. She came third of 23, beat 6.5 by air of entitlement. But just to illustrate that consistency, her run before she were beat at 2-9, and a run after she were beat 40 lengths near enough in a Grade 1, albeit behind Salvador Monday. And to be fair, she were reportedly lame that day. Um, she's put two good runs together now, and she looks nice. I'd imagine she'd be going Mare's Chase 14-1 for that. And yeah, that looks fair enough. She does look nice, and she's got a nice bit of festival form there, so she likes the place. On to Friday now. Yeah, Cheltenham, good to soft. Something just magical in the about Cheltenham. I can plenty of races I might not watch, but I can watch kind of ordinary horses run at Cheltenham and just find it enthralling. I think it's best racecourse in the world bar none. It's like the way it's just sunk into the valleys. It's just a thing of beauty. The history of the place. You feel it, don't you? Jesus, going back to like Golden Miller, Arkle Millhouse before my time anyway. Denman, KO Star, Hurricane Fly, Best Mate, Sprinter Sacre, Moscow Flyer, all these horses, all sort of, come up that hill, gallop round this hollow turf. There's just something about watching horses gallop round here that kind of stirs the soul. I'd no bet this day, but I just really enjoyed watching the racing. And I did watch the opening 2 mile one novice hurdle, and I saw Old Parkstar beat Glance at Midnight by 12 here. I mean, this looked a decent contest on paper, didn't it? There were loads of last time out winners, some had a little bit of a reputation. Just blew the race apart, turning for home, and cantered home from the last. It was a good time as well to sort of back up the visual impression. I don't know, I mean, we've had this lad, and a couple I haven't mentioned, Acting as Innocence for the same connections, Hurricane Pat last week for the Moors, all look really nice. Hurricane Pat for the Moors, just that it was Sandown. He had a great weekend. It seemed to me like the stable had targeted that weekend, so I kind of thought they probably got him bang on for this. Can he do it again? I just want to see him do it again. I know he looked good, but he were flash. I want to see him again. Act of Innocence and this guy that, I mean, none of them had brilliant bumper form. It were decent. Act of Innocence as bumper form would be a little bit better than this fella's. But it was just like the profile. They were both from Nichols. They'd both gone to Nicky's. Bumper form, alright, but nothing that'd take your eye out. And then, I don't know. It's like, believe nothing of what you hear and only half of what you see. But this were good. This were good. Really impressive. It were hugely impressive. It looks really nice horse going forward. He's, I think, 16's top price for the Supreme and 14's for the Turners. And yeah, he did everything lovely. He just travelled everywhere, and just blew the race apart turning in. Nice. It were a pleasure to watch. It were also a pleasure to watch was Harry's ride, Harry Skelton, in the 2 mile one handicap hurdle. Yeah, it was just lovely days racing, weren't it? I think you saw that mist rolling down the hills, and so I'm rambling today, aren't I? Yeah, look, Fortune de Mare, it was ballsy. I can only describe it as a Carby-esque ride at this. I was watching him, again, not had a bet in the race, and he was just sat, counting to 10, sat again, counting to 10 again. I'm like, this were easy on the eye. It were, just breezed through the field, just got there, timed it to perfection, and didn't do a whole lot in front once it got there. Go to the county, this horse, as a big contender for the Skeltons at a race they've got a great record in. The race should suit, and he should run really well there. Yeah, he's yeah, serious contender for the county. Maybe bump into something too well handicapped on the day, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, he'd look nice. Even at this stage, you wouldn't mind like sticking him in the play spot there, would you? Yeah, pleasure to watch that. It were. So on to Saturday, Cheltenham, good to soft. The 2.5 mile support the Hunt Family Fund December Gold Cup handicap chase. Won by Glenn Gooley, this. Yeah, it used to be with Willie, didn't it? See all these big races, don't we? Dominated by the likes of, Dan and Willie and Gordon and Henry, and this were a big day for Faye Bromley, and that's always nice to see, isn't it? When, the smaller kind of connections land a big pot. It's a big day for them, given a fine ride by Sean Bowen, who's just a fine rider, isn't he, Third place was the one to take out of this for me, Jaguar. Beat a length and a half and a neck. I thought he looked a little rusty. I think he'll come on plenty for this, and he should. I mean, these 2.5 mile handicaps at Cheltenham, they seem to be one every other week. He'd win the next one of these, I'd imagine. Well, maybe not the next one, because that is literally in like 2 weeks, but the one after that at the trials meeting, isn't there? There's one at the trials meeting. If he goes there, he'll take some whacking in that, I think. I kind of hope people react a little negatively to this, because I'd be all over him for that. I think he'll take some beating in that. Fairy House, it was soft heavy places, 2 mile beginners. Yeah, Jacob's Ladder beat Caroline Bamboo, 4.25 here. McClory, another 3.25 back in third. Could be nice types, these, for sort of handicaps. Just handicaps, I think, but they could be nice for them. Jacob's Ladder, to appreciate the first time cheap pieces, ridden positively, made his race fitness tell and experience. The second, Caroline Bamboo, she came fourth in the Mares Novice Hurdle last season, and Mark got off and said she needed softer ground. She got that here, but she did come in plenty for a reappearance last season and may do so again. Up in trip, Willie gave this mare as one of his 2 horses to follow. The other horse was Georg Manil, that horse for the Turners anyway. I kept calling him Mesnell, didn't I, last week? Apologies. And yeah, the Ted Walsh horse. I can barely speak English, never mind Gaelic. Okay, I do my best. Apologies, but yeah, up in trip he did say though, so I think she'll go up in trip after this. She'll take a bit of whacking next time, I'd have thought, in a mare's beginners, or even a normal beginners, and she could make up into a graded mare. Yeah, she may. Yeah, she may be the one out of these that is maybe a little shade better than a handicap. McClory, he took out the valuable 2 mile handicap hurdle at the DRF, didn't he, last season of 120? That was a good day for us, that. He's not shown much since, but it'd be dangerous to write off an Emmett Mullins horse who's in the process of like obtaining his mark. So still want to have half an eye on. The fourth is Skylord. There's something about this horse. He looks a fine chasing type. He's been generally disappointing since beating Kappa J Pike on his hurdles debut, but he were highly tried in, I think, the Grade 2 Moscow Flyer and the Grade 1 Supreme. You know, ran okay on his chase debut behind Kit Spuel. Say, Henry's not in the best of form. I've just got a bit of a feeling about this horse. I might be wrong, but 2 mile handicaps, Henry de Bromhead is in the process of getting his handicap mark. I think they held him in a little bit of regard last season. Could yet fulfil that. Could possibly a grand annual type horse, maybe. You know, decent ground in the spring, Henry de Bromhead. 2 mile handicaps, yeah. Just a little feeling about him. Yeah, and lastly, the enabler, he took out the 2-5 novice chase. He should also make up into an interesting type in handicaps. He's only 6 turning 7. Fine big chasing type. Best should be yet to come. So I can't speak English. Just a little general note. I'd say Henry de Bromhead's, despite Echoing Silence winning, I'd still be sort of against him just at the moment. Particularly when he's got like the favourite or the second favourite in a race. Gavin, on the other hand, I think is really coming good now. He's had a couple more winners. He took out the cross country at Cheltenham, didn't he? And if you look at his form there, he's had a few hit the frame at big prices, like 40s, 28s get placed. The winners are coming. He could be just clicking into top gear at a perfect kind of time for Christmas. He could be in for a nice Christmas, Gavin. Okay. Performance of the week then. No light graded action, really, really. Gave it to Old Park Star. Had to, it did look a decent race, and it just surprised me. He just blew the race apart. The way he did. The Supreme Ballymore, I'm not sure. I mean, listening to Nicky after this, you kind of got the feeling it surprised him too. And you kind of got the feeling Act of Innocence would be rated better than this fella at home. And he mentioned that horse, and he mentioned the Grade 1 form beat, and it would be great to see him there taking on the favourite for the Supreme My Daddy Paddy. That would be good. We'd learn plenty. He also mentioned some introductory hurdle a few days after that, and you just get that feeling down here. He's probably go the easy route. You'd like to see him in the Grade 1 against My Daddy Paddy and know a bit more. And he also mentioned he had some nice types coming out in the next week or two, for maidens and stuff. So I'll probably take note of that. He could have a good bunch of novices this year, Nicky. It's about time he had some nice horses. Like I say, I'm not quite sure. It's like I said, it's believe nothing what you hear and only half of what you see. I don't know, but do you know what I liked about him? It was that, at the bottom of the hill on that turn for home, that bend, there's nothing better, is there, than seeing your horse, your jockey, just sat there while all the others are just riding along around him, and it's a great place to have a lot of horse under you. You know, it just fills the horse up, comes off that bend, kicks and away and gone. And I like how he did it here. Yeah, the way Nicky were talking, you'd think this fella would be going up to the Turners, and the other fella maybe is Supreme Horse. It looked like a Supreme kind of performance to me. You know, he just travelled everywhere. He had that at the bottom of the hill, and then he galloped all the way to the line. You need to stay to win a Supreme. I kind of think the Turners, you want that little burst of pace. But I get it wrong plenty, you know I do. But yeah, anyway, God, I'm rambling on, aren't I? Yeah, I liked him anyway, and he was number one this week. Yeah, how good he is, I don't know, but he looks good anyway, and he looks a cracking prospect going forward. Number 2, Diva Luna. Okay, yeah, just a 3-horse race at 1 to 4, but again, she was just like a joy to watch. Just enjoyed watching her. Maybe she can go on now to sort of justify Connection's high opinion of her. And number 3, I gave to Echoing Silence, the other listed mares contest. Again, you know, not quite sure what the form is worth, but again, she looks a sort of classy mare in the making. The mare's novice hurdle should be going there. If I had to recommend one bet for Cheltenham out of the runners we'd seen this week, it'd be a small bit on her, I think, at 16s. We know where she's going. Henry de Bromhead mare, he's got history there. Yeah, and she defied stable form, you know. Yeah. But yeah, do note Pure Steel. He's a nice one to keep on side, I think. So right, that's all that stuff. The Christmas ante-post then. Yeah, I'd look at that Paddy Power handicap, but I'm still, you know, the cogs are still turning out. I've made no nearer really to having a selection for the race. It can be a really hard race, can't it? It's not every year you get one like we had last year. Yeah, Back to Normal is entered up in this. Yeah, I wouldn't personally be backing him at the minute. He may not turn up. Gavin does have plenty of other options as well. I kind of think this originally would have been maybe the plan, but I'm just not quite sure about the horse at the minute. He's one, if he runs on the day, you're going to be getting double figures, you know, on the back of his 2 runs. So I'd just have a little bit of change on him if he turns up on the day. Yeah, Gavin does have some Enter-Deer. Will the Wise is Enter-Deer. We like him. He ran well in the Troy Town, he did. And it was 3rd run in 5 weeks, and then it's had a bit of a break. Maybe this is the time. It does strike me as more like a sort of Thyestes type. You know, I think he's a really strong stayer. We said that 3 mile 6 novice handicap, didn't we, for Cheltenham? Yeah, but you do need to stay to win this as well. He's interesting, I think. He's priced up about 16 to 1. He's also got an entry in a 2.5 mile handicap at Cheltenham on New Year's Day, though, which kind of makes me think this isn't like a big plan for him. You know, if it was, why would he have that other entry? Unless maybe he was kind of like the backup to Back to Normal, and he may become the main one. But yeah, I'd like him, and at 16 to 1, I think if he ran in it, I'd probably have a little bit each way on him. Again, don't know at the minute if he'd be the main selection. I meant to write it down. One of our ramblers told me how to say a book ale, but I remember it meant poor boy. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I meant to look at that. I do appreciate that, mate. I like to know these things, I do. And yeah, I'm always interested in the actual meaning behind the names as well. He's rated 122 here. Ted Walsh, 912 at the minute. JP. That kind of looks appealing. They have history in this race. But the only thing about him is it's like 3 weeks after he's had a fairly tough race there on his seasonal return, and his jumping would be a worry in a field like this, I think. But on paper he looks nice, like, you know, if he turned up here. Mossy Fen Park, I think, will have maybe handicaps in him off sort of 137. Henry, difficult to know with Henry at the minute. So I ain't got any, I don't know why, I'll just give you my thoughts there, like, you know, I haven't come to any conclusions yet. I may not do, you know, there's nothing to say, I'll even have a bet in the race. Yeah, fiercely competitive stuff, that, isn't it? Also on the 27th, then, a cracking card in it on 27th, we have the Paddy Rewards Club Grade 1 2-mile chase. And I do have a selection here. Well, yeah, I've had a bet in this, and the horse of bat is Only by Night each way. Yeah, each way at 10-1. You can get 12s at Hills, but, you know, generally I think it's more 10s. But if you can get Hills, it's 12s at Hills. She is. I'm pretty sure I've kept these small. You know, I ain't gone like mad on any of these. You know, it is ante-post, and, you know, if you don't run, you don't get your stake back. And I'm pretty sure Gavin were keen to go up in trip with her, but Robco do have Carla Conti. And I think, looking at this, you've got to be tempted to have a crack at this. I think he's a grade 1, and you've always got the option of going up in trip after if she gets, you know, well beat here. She's got it to do with some of these. She has on the ratings when you look at the numbers. But, you know, Illy Tay Thompson is shorter price than her. It's 3 weeks after the Tingle Creek 21-day turnaround. I think, you know, Willie got that horse bang on. He put a lot into that race. I'd be surprised if he wheels him out again here. I don't think he'll turn up. Quelixios is a shorter price and is not running for Henry. He's come out and said that, won't be ready for this. I believe nothing of what you hear. Yeah, I know. But he did say it won't be ready for this. So, of the ones that I think will matter, we got Majborough, 2-1 joint favourites with Marine National. Now, Majborough's a likely winner of this, really. Left-handed's going to suit him a lot better. Also, a quick enough turnaround, though, really. Just 20 days after his seasonal return. May not run. You know, there's no guarantee he turns up here. Probably will, though. I think it's the plan. But may not be his best, you know. Just 20 days after his reappearance. Gave himself, you know, he exerted a lot of energy in that race, you know, and this is just 20 days after that. And that apart is jumping, you know. Likely winner of this, he is. I mean, if someone wanted to back this horse on the day at 6-4, I wouldn't put him off because he could well win it, you know. But personally, I just couldn't take a short price. I'd rather find somewhere else at 6-4. I couldn't take a short price about a horse that jumps the way he does, you know. I mean, all right, he's left-handed here, but That didn't help him at Cheltenham, did it? Um, it'd be better, but still got mistakes in him. Not for me at a short price. I'm not saying he can't win, but I'd be looking, I think, elsewhere. He's a sort of, you're backing a horse at a short price, like 6 to 4 ish. You want all the boxes ticked for me. You do. There's 6 to 4 shots winning every day that don't have the question marks this fella's got. I know he's a good horse. I know he's got a huge engine, but yeah. And Marine National's like another thing about Matchbook. I thought, first time out last season, I think he's the best he jumped. For me, his jumping has got worse race to race to race. I think every race he's had is got worse. So that's like not a good trajectory to be on, is it? Willie may well sort it out. He's a genius, isn't he? But the fact is, yeah, he's jumping. If you made a graph, despite what the AI says, yeah, not for me. Marine National, yeah, he's the reigning champion, classy type, isn't he? But it is first time out this, and if the rains came and he ended up like soft heavy, he may not even run, and if he did, they'd look after him. I think he did need it, didn't he? His reappearance last season. So, from an post point of view, he's kind of reliant on the ground and his first time out. And yeah, so as good as he is, yeah, I say, our girl, she's got it to do on the numbers with these horses. But, Founder 50's third in here, 7 to 2 generally. He's been a busy boy though, hasn't he? He has. He's had 3 quick runs now and again a 20-day turnaround. Could this be one race too many for him if he does turn up here? Surprised no one really. He'd be entitled to put a like rare below performance for him. Admirable horse, but yeah. Dino Blue, she's here. She's 8 turning 9. She ran well first time out, but she made a couple of jumping mistakes. Maybe that's a one-off, or maybe it's just a sign of something more. Yeah, just a little doubt in my mind there with her if she's going to just start going on the decline now. These mares don't go on forever. But yeah, she's there, but she's not unbeatable, is she? Particularly 2 mile like. The Solness is here, and he's actually a bigger price. He's 2 from 2 at Leopardstown. It'd be interesting if he runs here. Clearly loves Leopardstown, but again, it's first time out. And I don't know if he's 100% going to turn up or not. For me, it's a race full of like question marks. Maybe 1 or 2 of them will answer those questions positively, but I think she'll come here. I think she looks nailed on to run a race if she does turn up here, and I think they'll have a crack at it. I would, and yeah, I think Gavin's horses he could be just coming to the boil just right for Christmas. And you also got, I'm not generally an each way backer, but, races like this can cut up, can't they, to less than 8 runners. So, if she turns up here, I think she'll make the frame anyway, and she may do a little bit better than that. So, I think she's a fair bet each way at 10s. But like I said, I've not gone mad on any of these. I'd keep stakes fairly small. Grade 1 2 mile future champions novice hurdle. The roller honour here, recent history, Abracadabras, Appreciate It, Marty Potter, Facile Vega, Caldwell Potter, Romeo Coolio. Willie and Gordon have taken out the last 10 of these, okay, between them. So, Yeah. Generally, it's kind of a little early still for Willie to be in like full throttle, and Gordon tends to be a little bit more forward with the sort of novices at this time of year. And that's maybe reflected in the fact Gordon's took out 4 of the last 6 of these. That said, Willie does look to have a strong hand here. He's got the first 3 in the market. And also he's got others at single figures as well. Of those, Davy Crockett is quoted here at sort of 7s or something, I think. But the last I saw, he was out till the spring, and the Moscow Flyer were name checked for him. Yeah, believe nothing what you hear, but that's what we were told. Bambino Fever, yeah, our girl, she's out tomorrow, so I can't see her coming here for this. And St. Bacco's entered up, I liked him. Again, though, 21-day turnaround, I wonder if maybe they'll skip this. The 3 he's got at the front of the market there. So 2 down, Love Me Tender for JP and La Divine Enfant. So 2 down is the shortest of those. I like La Divine Enfant more for this. When, like I say, you look at those winners, the previous winners, Abracadabras, Appreciate It. For the Mastersons, who also own La Divine Enfant, Marty Potter, Fassar Vega, Caldwell Potter, Romeo Coolio, the last 6 winners of this. Of those, 1 has gone to take out the Supreme, Appreciate It, for the Mastersons. And we've had Abracadabras, Fassar Vega, rest in peace, and Romeo Coolio hit the frame. So, you tend to get a serious horse winning this. So Tudo is a nice horse. I don't see him as a supreme horse myself. Maybe wrong. I'd say the more likely supreme horse would be La Divine Enfant, but I don't know for sure if he's going here. Just my thoughts, these. Gordon's got 2 entered in this. Maybe more, but 2 that are sort of priced up in single figures, and they are Cocktail Brute and Skylight Hustle. Gordon did a video on the tote the other day. You can find it on YouTube. Worth a listen. He's always worth a listen, Gordon. He's good value. I was kind of find him fairly straight. Danny Mullins is on there as well. Good jockey. Nothing against Danny, but personally, what he says kind of goes in one ear and out the other with me. But yeah, Gordon's good value. Gary O'Brien's always good value, and he's there too. So worth a watch that, I'd suggest. And that's where I've kind of got a few of these running plans from. Yeah, Gordon's 2A, Cocktail Brute, Skylight Hustle. Cocktail Brute shades the betting. He's, I think, just half a point or so shorter than Skylight Hustle. I'd be nearly 100% sure that Skylight Hustle is the stable number 1 here. I think this will be Jack's mount, and he's 6-1. Yeah, went off too quick on his hurdles debut, and got cut down by the devil. There. He's gone on to place in the Grade 2, weren't it, last week, the Navan Novice Hurdle. Much better next time out at Fairy House. I thought kind of got a softish lead, to be fair, but he was really impressive from like 3 out to the line. Just ping, 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 jumped the last 3, great, very professional, I thought. I don't know, I could possibly side with Willie in this. It depends, I think, on what he runs and the way the jockeys fall. I don't know if the JP horse is going to run or not. I don't know why he didn't run last time in the Royal Bond. I don't know what happened there. But either way, even if I do side with sort of Willie more, one of Willie's in this, I'd be happy to take a saver on this Skylight Hustle at sixes right now. You know, if Gordon's got a supreme horse in this, it's this fella, I think. And I kind of feel like if there's a supreme winner in this, it could be Love Me Tender, but it could be. It could be. I'm just a little bit cool over this sort of summer form, but sometimes the horses do defy that. But this Le Divine Enfant couldn't have been more impressive last time. Could be anything like, you know. My gut feeling is if there's a supreme winner in here, it's Le Divine Enfant. But I think if Gordon, yeah, like I say, if Gordon has a supreme horse in this, I think it's this Skylight Hustle. 6-1, I just think he's worth having a small bit on now. If we think how good that bet looks will depend on what Willie runs and the way the jockeys fall. Like, you know, ideally, I guess you'd like to see Love Me Tender not run, because Mark Walsh would be on that. So say Love Me Tender runs, you've got Mark Walsh there, and say Paul's on Le Divine Enfant. That's kind of your worst case scenario, and maybe the most likely. But in that case, I still think this fella's going to slot in there as third favourite. And 6-1, I think it'd be easy enough to sort of get out of, you know, if you want to. And I wouldn't have much on it anyway. Yeah, I can't see him being sort of bigger than sixes on the day, even in that instance. Now, if the JP horse turns up with Mark Walsh on it and Paul's on sort of Tudo, I'd be a little bit more confident about this guy. I would, and I'd maybe be happy enough to have him as my main bet. And yeah. Now, if JP's horse doesn't run here and Paul's on Sortudo, I think I'd be all over this fella. I would. So it kind of depends how it pans out, what Willie runs here and the way the jockeys fall, in my mind anyway. But I think even in the worst case scenario, you know, like I say, Gordon's took out 4 of the last 6. I'm nearly sure this is his number one with Jack on, and you're getting 6-1. So it can't be a terrible bet. Like, you know, I think it's just worth a little bit there. Skylight Hustle at the sixes, you know. Like I said, I'd possibly be my weakest of the 3 bets, but I just thought it was worth a little bit there, you know. 28th, the Christmas hurdle. You probably know what's coming. The Yellow Clay. I'm on this horse now already. Getting nibbled away there. 8-1 is the top price at Paddy Power and Sky Bet. Now, Ballyburn's odds on here. You know, he's 3 from 3 at Leopardstown, and he could blow this race apart and go odds on for the Stayers Hurdle. That could happen, you know, and it wouldn't like shock me, you know. But his odds on, and you're backing horse odds on to prove something here. You know, he's got to prove that he'll get the trip well enough with the keenness that he has. He may do that, but, you know, I don't like taking odds on for a horse that has something to prove. Like, you know, like say you want all your boxes ticked when you're sort of taking short odds like that. So yeah, could well win this, but, you know, I think you have a reason there if you want to take him on to do so. Teapot's here, and he's an intended runner. He is, and as long as the ground's safe. So, I mean, you wouldn't know 100% then, that given that he does run, it does sort of depend on the ground. I think Gordon's quite keen to run him here, though. He is. And he's 7-2, and that's more than fair, I'd say. I mean, I know Ballyburn, I liked Ballyburn last time, the way he finished his race off, but whereas Ballyburn may be okay at 3 mile, at the end of the day, Teapot beat him, and you know he's better at 3 miles. So, 10-11 against 7-2, I'm not so sure about that. I think they should be tighter in the betting there. Possibly it's because of the ground, like if Leopardstown can get pretty decent. I remember, a few years back, there are loads of non-runners there, don't they? If they have a dry week, it could get a little tight for him, the ground. They tend to put a bit more water down on it now, though, and it might rain. I don't know, I haven't really looked at the weather forecast, but yeah, you'd say the softer the ground, the better his chance anyway. And if it is really decent ground, then he may not turn up. Bob Ollinger and Owned by the Lee are here. Bob's a legend, isn't he? They fought out the finish of this last season. Bob's a champion. He is. He's the reigning champion. But both will be 11 in a few weeks' time, and both the first time up here, There's others too as well, but the Yellow Clay, I do like him. Make no mistake though, Teapot runs here, he's the second string, he is, I know that. We'll get negative out the way. He had a tough race, didn't he, first time out on really bad ground. That can leave a mark. They finished tired that day, although he did kind of keep at it to the line. It can leave a mark, that, and until we see him again, we don't know. So that is a worry there. He's had 41 days off, which is a nice sort of break, and he's a tough. I just think he's kind of tough, this horse. He's 6 turning 7, but he's got kind of plenty of experience. But yeah, that is a little worry. It's a shame, but you can't get away from it. It is a little worry that, On the positive side, this horse, I think, is much better on better ground. Much better. He is. Last season in some of those novice races, his class kind of got him home. He'll go through it, but he's a far better horse on better ground, and we saw that, I think, in the Turners last year. That was good form, that were really classy 2.5 mile form, I think. The track is also a positive for him, he's ran here twice. He took out his bumper on debut, and he ran in a grade 2 bumper behind Jerebo in Mashan. Do you remember him? He looked nice, didn't he? Yeah, he ran a big race that day. He stayed on to be a never near a 4th of 10, beating 7 lengths, but he looked clearly the second best horse that day in the race. He met some trouble in running there. So he really likes Leopardstown as well. I hope he's over that first time effort, because I'm excited to see what this horse can do at 3 mile on decent ground. I am. He's got £6 to find with the best of these on the numbers. I think there's every chance he can find that improvement. I think he'll improve plenty for 3 mile on decent ground. I do. I think 8-1's a kind of fine price to find out. I do. So I like him at 8-1, and I've had a play on him. Okay, he's definitely intended to run here like Teapot or no Teapot. So, providing he doesn't step on a stone or something, we should be good there. Okay, so that's it then, just coming up to an hour. That's not so bad, is it? I thought we might ramble on a bit longer. I do feel like I've rambled on a lot today. I'm in a rambly mood, aren't I? Going forward, I'm not sure about rest of the week. It's Christmas. What date are we on? 14th. It's next week, isn't it? Christmas it is. Time flies, eh? Is it Thursday, Christmas Day? I'm not sure. I think it might be Thursday. I'd do a Christmas preview, and ideally that'd be the day before Christmas Eve, which would be next Tuesday. That would probably, time permitting, that would be the day. I'll do my very best to get a video out that day of like a full Christmas preview, okay? So you might need a few flasks that day. Yeah, it should be good, and hopefully, we'll put up some selections and hopefully maybe get a bit of luck in a winner or two there. Okay. So all the best then. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you again soon. Okay, bye.